18 cities, 10 countries, and 27,000 miles later, we finally have a winner of The Amazing Race Season 28. We will be recapping last week's episode and the finale right here on AfterBuzz TV.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, everyone, and happy Monday. I can't believe the day is finally here. We have a winner of The Amazing Race. This is the finale recap and episode 11 recap for The Amazing Race Season 28. I'm your host, James Wallington, and with me are...
What's up, guys? I'm Jessica Carroll.
And I'm Marie Mazzocchi.
Hi, ladies.
Hey.
Can
We're
you
all
believe
together.
it?
We're all back, finally.
At the finale.
Finale time.
That's what counts.
Yep.
Well, we do have an action-packed recap because we're doing last week's episode and this week's episode.
Yep.
So let's just dive right in to episode 11, shall we?
Yes.
Do it.
All right, so our teams leave Indonesia and fly to Shenzhen, China, which is the Silicon Valley of China, which I thought was really interesting since we're from California.
Right.
That's Northern California. My favorite, not necessarily intro, but quote from the beginning of that episode was Cole when he was said, never been to China ever. I've eaten Chinese food and I've been to Chinatown in Alabama. That's as Chinese as I've gotten.
His mom's like, I don't think that's the same.
That does
Not
not.
at all, Cole.
Oh, cool. We're going to miss them.
But this episode was relatively cutthroat. It kind of continued from the episode before that when the U-turn drama happened.
Right.
And now this week it seemed like Tyler and Corey and Matt and Dana had their sights on knocking Bernie and Ashley out of the competition.
Smart.
It started, it set the tone right when they landed at the airport, because when they had to look for the clue in one of the terminals there, Tyler and Corey found their clue, and so did Matt and Dana, and they're saying, hide your clues, just in case other teams come by, they don't know that we already got it, which I thought was pretty smart.
Smart, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you guys think of, the competitiveness? This is what I wish we had seen from the very beginning, to be quite honest.
This was the stuff that we were kind of begging for all season, and of course it comes out in, the last 2 episodes, but I loved it, and I liked how, Tyler and Corey, they kind of told a little lie,
but the teams are still getting upset about it. Oh, they lied to us.
I know. It's you're in a race.
Do you know where you are and what you're doing?
Well, I also thought it was funny before they even left and they were at the travel agency in Indonesia, and they were at the travel agency, Tyler and Corey were talking with Bernie and Ashley about flights, and Bernie and Ashley made a comment about let's work together on getting a flight together. And Tyler and Corey made some comment how they're the new villains.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, actually, Tyler and Corey's behavior to me is a little bit more villainous. But then you think, what really constitutes a villain on a reality competition show? Marie, what do you think, since people think you're a villain?
I feel like they usually label the villain like someone that's outright just for themselves and doesn't care about anyone else. And Tyler and Corey are like that by their actions, but they still keep that front up with everybody else. So the other teams don't look at them as villains. Whereas in my season, I feel like right from the first 3 minutes, everyone was like, she's terrible. So I think between everybody's kind of got a little bit of villain going on with them. We saw it in Matt and Dana a little bit, and now we're seeing it in Tyler and Corey, but the other teams don't know that Tyler and Corey are kind of going behind their backs. So there's no real one team here that stands out to me as the villain. But I'm glad that this is happening.
I think it's funny when people do label contestants the villain, because sometimes being the villain has its perks. A villain to me is when you downright are just nasty to other teams, and you're just could care less about people's feelings, whereas you, Marie, were more focused on you and Tim and what you can do to accelerate yourself as a team in the competition. That's just brilliant gameplay and more so aggressive than villainous.
I feel like villain is more when you go out of your way to mess other people up, which there's not too much of that in The Amazing Race anyway. You get the opportunity to do something like that. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. If you do it, then you're the villain. But it's not, like you said, it's more of just, teams that are out for themselves and they do what's right for them and they don't care about the other teams. They somehow end up getting labeled villains when that's not really what it is.
Right. Well, it's and also you don't have time to go out of your way to screw another team up, because you just want to keep racing.
Right.
So, and I think during Amazing Race, it's okay to lie. It's okay to do these things because you're all trying to get to the same pit stop.
And I feel like the word villain is more used for shows like Survivor and Big Brother, where it's more individual, where this is you have a common goal with your teammate and you are going to do whatever you can as a team to get further.
I mean, but just for entertainment purposes and with editing and whatnot, if someone gives you a little bit, you're going to be labeled that.
Yeah.
Just because,
especially on this season, because we didn't see anything.
Right.
But I mean,
I feel like every show needs like a good villain, whether it's like legit or not. Like somebody's gonna get that angle.
It's good entertainment.
It is.
That is for sure.
Definitely.
Diving right into the roadblock for this leg, one team member was given a passport and had to search the grounds of Window of the World, which is a park containing 130 replicas of landmarks from around the world. And once they put together all these different landmarks in their passport, they would then get their next clue. Once they had all 6 stamps, they would then get their next clue, which I just said. What did you guys think? It seemed again like Dana and Tyler were continuing that camaraderie and sticking together.
Oh, 100%. They worked together because I think they just wanted to get rid of Ashley and Bernie. And so they were going to work together.
Yeah, I get that. But I also was a little bit confused by it because they really didn't gain anything by working with each other because, you know, if you had to go to like 10 different spots and get something, they stayed together. So they did one together, they did next together, they're running all over the place. And I'm thinking to myself, like, why not split up? Get four, then tell each other where the other ones are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's quicker because now you only did 4 things and then you're running really quick to the other 4. This way, they did all the same amount of work. They were just holding hands.
Yeah.
So it didn't make much sense, like, strategically to me, but I guess it kind of, like, you know, it makes you feel a little bit better to, like, have help and have someone who's, like, with you the whole way. But
because one person could have just picked 2 stickers and at the end,
right, like you would have split up. Hey, when we get back, let's exchange the 2 stickers, and then you did it in half the time. And I'm like, why didn't they think of that?
I think they probably did think of that. They just were scared, like, okay, well, what if I screw up and then I hold that person back, like grabbing the wrong stickers or whatever.
Wouldn't you want to hold someone back?
Yeah, but then you're like, oh, sorry, bye.
So
See, that would have been a true
I
villain.
would have done that, and then when it was my turn to give the stickers, I would have given the wrong stickers to the person I was working with. And
True
been like,
villain.
See ya.
True villain right there.
But this is actually when Bernie starts to pick up on the fact that, oh my gosh, like they're working against us. And that kind of set the bar, I think, a little bit higher for Bernie and Ashley. Like, oh gosh, we've got to really work.
And Bernie was like so
hard.
mad about it. He was like running around complaining about it. But like, again, we're going to the final 3 here. Like, no one's going to want to kind of help anybody else out. What did you expect was going to happen?
Well,
I loved personally.
I loved when Bernie was like, "Oh, are you still looking for your clue from the airport?" to Tyler because he lied about it. I was just like, "Oh."
Yeah, but whatever. So
but I mean, some of these, like, could you have got all of these guesses?
I mean, some of them were pretty easy to figure out, like the lion on the fish head or whatever. Like, people were reading that and they're like, I don't know what the hell that is. Well, look around. It's a lion on a fish, you know?
Yeah.
But I think half of them just, I wouldn't have known by just reading it what I was looking for. So I thought it was fun. Like, I thought that this was a fun roadblock. Like, you get to see everything there. You're running around. Like, this is the type of thing that I like to see on the race.
It's like a mini Amazing Race within Amazing.
Yeah, no, I love this
within
because
the race.
People who watch Amazing Race or who want to be on Amazing Race are interested in the world and geography and all these
travel and culture and like this showed
and so
all of
us,
that.
even as audience, we got to learn along the way. So I liked this. I thought it was really cool.
Great work, producers.
I was so worried about Sherry because, like, she was last and she was like, I don't know if I can do this. And she was like all over the place.
Well, and also, you know, Tyler and some of these people who have traveled often, they kind of had an advantage.
Right. So you know some of these things.
Yeah, you visited some of these countries and you just know. So I was with you. I felt bad for Sherry.
We love Sherry.
But she was still a badass. She was running around. She never gives up. She never is negative, which I love about her.
Yeah.
Dylan McConnell in the live chat says, Marie, Bernie uploaded a video and said that he wasn't actually mad at anyone during this leg. He said that he was playfully joking with them, but it didn't sound that way.
Yeah, I mean, that's easy to say after.
It's so easy. I mean, I would be upset, but that's just human. I just feel like that's a human reaction.
Yeah.
Like, I would rather just own up to being, I was frustrated a little bit, but like anyone would be. It's a competition and there's 4 teams left. To say you weren't frustrated when you were that close to the end, come on, you were probably frustrated.
Right.
So this leg's detour was a choice between commuter cycle or master of arts. And commuter cycle teams had to dress in business attire and practice riding self-balancing unicycles, which looked really tricky. Once they felt that they could ride them without falling, they had to complete a course down a busy street, holding a briefcase and a coffee cup. And upon completing the course, they would then be given a combination to a briefcase, which contained their next clue. In master of arts, teams had to search the plaza, filled with painters for one, which held a marked paintbrush. Then the painter would lead them to a shop where they had to find disassembled pieces of art and then hang them up. Once they were hung up properly, they would then receive their next clue due to the satisfaction of the judge. Which detour would you ladies have done?
Well, I've ridden one of those hoverboards, those like, whatever they are. I've ridden one before, and they are so hard, like so hard. So I would have definitely chosen the arts one, hands down.
I think I would have done the cycle hoverboard thing just because I feel like you're not looking for anything, you're not putting anything together, you can't really do anything wrong. Like if you are coordinated and you can get the hang of it, then that's it.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I don't know, I would have had the same mentality as Cole, like, oh, like I can skateboard and I'm athletic, so I can pick this up easy. Like that would have been my thinking, and I would have went for that.
Yeah, I mean, Sherry was able to do it, so I don't think it was that hard. I just think
Sherry can do it.
No, I'm just saying, like, Sherry's proven time and time again that like you can literally do anything you put your mind to in this race. Because her and Cole have kind of been underdogs, if you ask me. They've escaped elimination so many times that when Sherry could do it, like, I feel like coordinated people will be able to do that. In that case, it didn't work out to Bernie and Ashley's favor, but I definitely would have done the cycling thing as well.
This far into the race, like you don't switch detours.
I was
just like, are you kidding me? Like, and they're smart, like they're gamers, they know this. Like I couldn't believe when they were like, okay, let's switch.
They probably felt as though they were ahead of another team, and maybe they were a little overconfident. Not that I got that vibe from them, but I can maybe see that being probably why. That they were confident that they could still pass Sherry and Cole at the end of the day based on their performance streak throughout the entire season. Yeah. So that would make the most sense to me.
Yeah, I felt like they were like, oh, Sherry and Cole are behind us for sure.
We'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll be okay.
So yeah, that pretty much was the detour. But the running to the pit stop was so intense because there was a moment there where I really thought Sherry and Cole were like donezo.
Yeah, like I thought it was just editing to make us think like, oh, they're close, but like they really were. I was shocked when, Sherry and Cole come around the corner, and like they were shocked. Like Cole was like, wait, we're number three.
Oh, yeah.
Like I literally almost cried.
Yeah, I loved that moment. It was, I just seeing like how excited they got running up the stairs. I loved that. Loved it.
So that's when we got our final three for this season. So first was Tyler and Corey. Second was Matt and Dana, and third, last but not least, Sherry and Cole.
I'm so happy they made it.
Congratulations to all of those teams.
Yes.
So that is a brief overview recap of episode 11. Before we dive into our finale recap, I just have to extend a huge thank you to everyone who's tuned into the after show this season and have given us so much support and so much feedback every single week. It's been so fun to engage with all of you and hear all of your comments and all of your opinions, because this season I feel like was hit or miss with a lot of people, but you guys stuck through it with us.
So thank you.
Thank you.
And a huge shout out to some people in the live chat right now. Aria Dene Benet. I still don't know if I'm getting that name right. Jonathan Fang, Anna Gelbert, Aaron Lune, Mary Duda 444, just to name a few that I see in the live chat at this time. So thank you everyone for being so loyal to our after show. All right, so let's fly back to LA for a second. In this finale episode, teams, the finish line they were told was going to be in Los Angeles. And I'm not going to lie, but I was actually kind of pissed off that they got premium class on the final leg. I thought that was kind of BS. I don't care if you're a social media star or whatever, but as a fan of the race, from every season I've seen before this, you are put in economy, right? Like,
you're in the legit. Like you sit in the bathroom.
Yeah, you're not sipping mimosas. You're eating pretzels.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from, but I was like, really?
But like, really, why?
So they're fully rested for the final leg.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why this was probably the most boring finale of any season. And I don't care if people are going to hate on me for saying that, but I'm sorry. As a fan, I was so bored.
I know.
It was so obvious Matt and Dana were going to win from the beginning.
5 minutes in, literally, you knew. They couldn't even do anything with editing to like make it suspenseful.
No.
It was literally like you just knew, okay, well, this is it.
Yeah.
And they didn't even show things like parallel to each other so that we could think that things were going on at the same time. Like we watched them do something first and then that was it.
Yeah. It was crazy.
And I also was pissed because when you are finishing the race in LA and you have two teams that live in LA, right? And then you have Sherry and Cole who have like never been anywhere, disadvantage immediately.
Oh, for sure.
Like you get out of the airport and if you don't live here or you don't travel here often, like you have no idea what you're doing and where to go. And the driving is horrendous. Even if you have a taxi, like it's so much more confusing than if someone is from here, they know exactly where to go.
Exactly. And I mean, even the airport alone, the LAX airport is
good luck getting out of the airport.
Yeah, a maze. Whereas, I mean, Tyler and Corey, like, how many times have they been to that airport? Probably couldn't even count. Where Sherry and Cole, they have no idea where they're even going. Get a taxi.
Yeah.
So
I felt bad right away. I was like, oh my God, like this sucks for them.
Yeah,
they're
for sure.
at a disadvantage.
Oh, and I don't know. The whole premium class thing just really irked me the wrong way. I was like, they're gonna get fully. I mean, I've only flown first class once in my life, and I will tell you, when you're traveling abroad doing that, you feel so rested wherever you land the next day.
Well, it takes away the point of it too, because they give you these long layovers and they give you this starts at this time and that, so that you're stuck in the airport. You can't sleep. You have to cram into like economy, and you don't get much rest, and that's what makes everyone crazy and makes the race so much more fun to watch, because like you're struggling.
Yeah.
But this was like, let's basically give everyone a hotel room and a massage before the next leg.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
What?
Like, sometimes the first class is so nice, you don't even want to get off the airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I feel like everyone was kind of rested, and I don't know.
Whatever.
Just like whatever. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, kudos to them. I'm sure it was so nice to
sure it
finally
was.
have that and be pampered after running around the world all this time. But I'm just saying, to keep with the, you know, the theme of the amazing race and the stakes of that final leg, and every other racer in previous finales that had to endure this final stretch, I just didn't think
And
it
that's
was...
also an equalizer
Right.
too, because when you get your tickets, some people might be in row 5, some people are in row 30. If you're in row 30, you got 20 minutes behind another team before you get off the plane.
And they're all in the front of the bus.
right.
Aria Dene Benet says, yes, I was pissed too about the seating on the plane, and it was boring, James. I was mad about it. Adam Millwood does give us a little tidbit that they actually do that on the Amazing Race Canada, but this is not Amazing Race Canada. This is Amazing
I know.
Race
I'm wondering
US.
why they decided to do it this episode. Like, what was the reasoning behind it?
Good question.
If anyone knows that out there, put it in the comments.
Anna Gelbert says, when you're fully rested, that's for when you're eliminated or when the race is over.
Oh, yeah. And someone said those wigs, though.
Yeah, that was cute. I thought that was funny.
Why did they have wigs?
How did they even have them? They like packed them just for like a moment
They
like
did.
that?
Well, Chris Mingy
It
in the
means they
live chat
knew they
said,
were going to fly
knew.
first class. It was in their contract before they
They just
even got
wanted
on
to
the race.
flip their hair.
No, they actually, like, if you watch the extended like interviews on the finish line, Tyler and Corey do talk about the wigs and why they brought them, and it was help them bring up morale when things were low or things were down, or help pass time, and they decided the final leg was the best thing to do, so they did it on the final stretch before they had to leave their
Oh
bags.
my God, that is
Yeah.
hilarious. That would be like the last thing I'd ever even think about bringing.
But once they get to Los Angeles, they have to make their way to downtown LA to Angeles Plaza, where they had to perform a roadblock. In this roadblock, one team member had to choose a safety instructor, then make their way to the penthouse above Angeles Plaza. While being tethered from a rappel line, they had to perform a giant leap from a height of 170 feet to grab their next clue while hanging in midair. If they failed, they would then have to rappel to the ground and try again. What did you guys think of this roadblock?
I thought it was cool.
I thought it was
liked
cool.
it.
It was exciting.
I mean, I have a fear of heights, but knowing that you're attached and all this stuff, like it's not you're in
not
no
gonna die.
fear. Yeah. So I thought it was cool. I would have really enjoyed
This is
that.
the kind of thing that like I would have liked to do, which I didn't actually get to end up doing anything like this on my season. Tim did things. He ended up being the one at the roadblock that did jumping off things and whatnot, and I was kind of upset about that. But like this to me is like a roadblock that you
Yeah.
should see on the race. Everyone should almost die jumping off something at least once on the race. You know, I thought it was
agree.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, we did see, like, Matt and Dana. It doesn't surprise me that Matt did it on his first try, because I feel like you're pretty coordinated with that kind of stuff, and I feel we've
He's
seen
a
Matt
great
kind of
leaper.
be
He's a
fearless.
dancer.
Yeah, right. And
And he's a
into
lot
the air.
taller than the other two anyway. So, and I was surprised too. Like I realized that obviously if you miss it the first time, the next time they bring it a little bit closer and a little bit closer. Because I was like, how are these other two ever going to get that? Like
Yeah.
I saw how far Matt jumped, and he's a foot taller than both of them.
Right.
So
And I think what Sherry did, I mean, I don't know if she purposely did this because she was really scared, but she kind of the first time she went up there and she kind of just like
Well,
she didn't
also
even jump. She just kind
pulled
of
her hands back. I don't know if you saw it. She
she
pulled her
held
hands
on
back.
to the thing, and I was like, how are you gonna grab the thing if you're she was doing like a test jump.
But I mean, that's what I mean. Is if I was her and if I was scared, I would have just jumped.
Right.
And then next time you know what it's like, and they move it closer, and then you can actually try. Mm-hmm. So I would have done that, almost like the camel thing, where you could, why
just test it out and then do it the second time when it's easier.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was fun to watch. I mean, I was so I felt so bad for Sherry. She was so scared, but she sucked it up and she did it. And Tyler was hitting on the guy, of course. Like,
oh my god, that poor guy is probably not even straight. I mean, he probably is straight. He's probably like,
what was his name? Brandon or something?
It was Brandon.
He was like, oh, Brandon, that's so Brandon of you.
I know, so Brandon. So Brandon.
You can always count on Tyler for those
He's
little
tall and
one-liners.
handsome. His smile, he was everything.
Everything.
But it took Sherry 2 attempts, Tyler 3, and also Arya Danae Benet in the live chat says Matt is also pretty tall, which I can also see kind of being as an advantage for the reach. So yeah. After they completed this roadblock, they had to take their helicopter to Santa Barbara, where once they were there, they had to search around Santa Barbara Maritime Museum, where they had to get into a marked dinghy from the harbor and find the Teresa Ann boat. Once the boat was found, the fishermen on the boat would then give them their next clue. What did you guys think of the whole helicopter to Santa Barbara transition? And
I mean, it was easy. Like, their helicopters were just there.
They know where they're going.
They know they're going. Like, it wasn't. You don't have to get a taxi. You don't have to like get directions. It was just easy. But I mean, it was nice for them. It was cool. Like, I love going in helicopters. So.
Yeah, I mean, I hate it. Like, and I hated it in my season because it's something that's so controlled. It's like a 4 TV leg. Like, Matt and Dana got to the helicopters first. Okay, they're gonna win the race. Like, it just took me back to racing through Alaska and how it was like the exact same thing. Like, get in a boat, get in a helicopter. Like, there was no. Unless your helicopter crashes, like.
Well, it's kind of like the second season of All Stars 2 when they're in Las Vegas and they have to take individual taxis that are already marked taxi cabs, and Dave and Connor on first the entire stretch. You kind of already knew that they have more of leverage in that.
Yeah.
This was basically just us like watching Matt and Dana go through the leg, and then every now and then like checking back just for a little one-liner from Tyler and like seeing if Sherry and Cole were still alive. But like this was like the Matt and Dana show.
Yeah. There was no competition. It was just, and there wasn't even like a way to get ahead because one person jumped, you had to wait for the next person. So it wasn't
was pretty linear. Like, I felt like I was watching Jason and Amy in our finale. Like just they're gonna win. This is so great. Like just watching it. Like there's no chance for anyone else.
There's really not a lot at stake. And Anna Gelbert in the live chat makes a really good point that the placing for the final leg was secured in the roadblock. It was fun when it happened, but not for the long run.
Right.
So it's very true. It's not like they all three could go at the same time when they were there. They had to take turns.
Yeah.
So, which kind of set them apart in the placings. But
yeah.
Once they got their clue, they were then directed to go to Gibraltar Rock, where they had to take part in synchronized mountaineering. While one team member traversed horizontally across a suspended line to grab one half the clue, the other partner would then be pulled vertically down the face of a cliff to pick up the other half. Once they returned to safety, teams had to join their two halves to read their next clue. Which I loved this whole sequence, and the whole time I was like, poor Cole and Sherry. Neither of them are really big fans of heights, and this entire leg was very heights based.
Yeah. I was surprised that a lot of the girls did the rock climbing one instead of the one that went across.
Well, the one who goes across on the way forward and back is essentially like supporting the weight of the other person. So basically the lighter person did the up and down because the person going across is as they pull and they get like further, you then come up.
Oh, I was wondering because I was like, it seems like a lot harder to climb back up than it would be to just go across and as they fall.
Yeah, the person who was going across is basically the equivalent of someone who is on the ground holding your ties.
What did you think of Cole's arms?
Blushing.
Chris Mingy in the live chat says, I will miss Marie talking about Cole on the after show. Once teams completed the mountaineering task, they were headed to the winery, which was their final roadblock of the race, where team members who did not perform the first roadblock would have to arrange letters and hashtags on a series of wine barrel lids to spell the names of the cities in the order visited on this season of the race. Then they must hang them with the hashtags on the barrels in chronological order. To be quite honest, I was actually really confused by this entire roadblock. I wasn't
I still don't really get it.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I still don't really get it.
But normally this is something we see as like a detour at the end, and like both of the team members get to work on this. So this, if the wrong person jumped off the building and the person who doesn't know anything, like if Matt had to do this, I don't know that it would have been as quick as Dana doing it, because she knew from the very first leg of the race that these hashtags that are in our clues are gonna be at the end of the race.
Well, and it seemed like everyone knew that. Like, it wasn't like people weren't like, oh my gosh, pondering like what hashtag. It seemed like they all knew.
Yeah.
It was just a matter of time.
Out in the clue. I remember in our season, we didn't know when we got to the end and we had to put like all specific cities, or I don't even remember what it was. We were like, what?
Yeah.
Like, we don't remember. We didn't write anything down. There was no indication of that, but they all got there and knew.
Yeah, and last year was the selfies, right? They had to put their selfies in each. So, but yeah, this one seemed to me, as long as you could spell and you remembered, it seemed like they all knew the hashtags were coming at the finale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you didn't remember, like process of elimination.
Or maybe they had like a list
words.
of them already and they just had to put them in order. I don't really know. I'm just pulling that out.
I fell asleep.
Dylan McConnell in the live chat says this leg shows how much easier the show has gotten over the years, in my opinion.
For sure. Yeah.
Sunshaw Still a Hedgehog says, sorry I'm late. Welcome to the party.
You missed everything.
Again, Matt and Dana were like the only team pretty much at the winery for the longest period of time, which I'm like, this is so anticlimactic. Like, nothing against Matt and Dana's win at all. Like, congratulations to them. They did it. But it was just like, as a viewer, so anticlimactic, and it was kind of a buzzkill.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see all three teams at this and like really feel the tension of like, oh my God, just around the corner is $1 million and one of us is going to get it.
I don't know why they didn't do that with the editing, at least. Like,
make it at least look.
Right, like I'll be the first to tell you, like when we were in Alaska, Jason and Amy were an entire hour ahead of us the entire leg. Like, we weren't even like at the detour at the same time. But when you watch it, you didn't know who was going to come around the corner between the two of us. They didn't show us any of that in this. Like, at least make us feel like they were
well, the one time they actually did that, and it was like, from what I remember, is that it was so ancient ago. People are probably like, "What? You actually watched that season?" Was the family edition, and the families that were in the final leg, the two families, the Lynn's family and the Branson family, were head to head in this final task, putting together the pieces on a huge map, and they were only a 5-minute gap from the win.
See, that's
exciting. More exciting to me
that's
than
what
this.
I want to see.
So I don't know.
When you take out the. Basically, when you add cabs and helicopters and things like that, like, it takes out that element of, being totally in control of what you're doing. Like, if you're driving somewhere, you're getting your own taxi, you're running, you're doing things like that doesn't require help from anyone else on the race. Like, when they go to these things and they're rappelling down rocks, like, that's something that you have to go there, you have to learn about it, there's all this safety, there's other people attached to you. Like, it's not very much in your control how long it's going to take you to do it, and I think that kind of separates people a little bit, and there's no way to either catch up or fall behind.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of taxis, I mean, Tyler and Corey got a horrible taxi driver, and there was a lot of taxi drama going on, which is, I kind of like that stuff. I mean, it was kind of funny because they're back in LA and they get a taxi driver that doesn't speak English.
I know, like, what are the odds of that?
Yeah.
It's like, really?
I guess, who takes taxis anymore? There's Uber.
Yeah. I wonder if you can Uber on the show.
That's
like,
gonna be,
get someone's phone and call an Uber.
No, you know how last year, like, it was sponsored by
season.
Fitbit? Yeah, Fitbit. Next season's gonna be sponsored
like
by Uber.
Yep.
That is hilarious. So, of course, as the ultimate result, Matt and Dana were the first team to cross the finish line, and I know that, like, people are always like, oh, there's a winner's edit. I'm actually was kind of shocked that Matt and Dana, I was the first time, like, after I watched it, I text you guys, I'm like, I'm actually shocked at who won. Like, I did not expect it, nor, I didn't really find myself ever rooting for Matt. Again, it's nothing against them. I just wasn't really rooting for them as hard as I was, like, Sherry and Cole.
Yeah.
Because you kept hearing throughout the entire season how badly Sherry could use this money. She has a family of 8. She has 2 boys in college. One of them that's, like, about to get ready to go to college. So the money could really change their life. Where I feel like Matt and Dana, and I know people talk about the money thing and how it's, like, not really appropriate, but, like, let's be real. Let's call the elephant in the room. YouTubers do make quite a living, whether it's substantial or not. You can make money off of YouTube, and that's not a secret. So for someone like Matt and Dana, who have a huge successful channel and, like, success in the dance industry, period, I didn't really root for them as hard as I did Sherry, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Is that too harsh to
However,
say?
no, but I mean, I agree with you, but I also think, like, let's just look down the line here. Should there be an All-Stars or like an unfinished business redemption type of thing in the future? People want to see Sherry and Cole again. People might want to see Tyler and Corey again.
Yeah.
I like Matt and Dana, but not enough that I want to watch them again on another season.
Yeah.
So, you know, not saying that it's rigged, but if it's rigged, then, you know, those are you can't win and come back for All-Stars. So,
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of followers that would watch Tyler again. There's a lot of people watching that are in love with Sherry and Cole and love to see them get a second chance.
Okay, we know you want them back.
So, like, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, well, neither one of them could win because then they can't come back.
Yeah, that's true.
You make a good point. I mean, Sherry and Cole got second place. Last but not least was Tyler and Corey.
Which I was shocked that they got third.
Me too. I at least thought they would get second, but no.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it might have just been that freaking taxi driver. But see, that's the good part is like, you got to have those.
Yeah, because that was their fault. Like, they didn't ask their cab to stay.
Right.
So then when they came back out, they didn't have a cab.
Yeah.
And that takes like a lot of time. Like, you're not just randomly finding cabs sitting around in LA anymore because of Uber. So
Yeah, your fault.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really thrilled for Matt and Dana. Like, a huge congratulations to them. I think any team that ever wins the Amazing Race has obviously done something right to get to the final leg and cross the finish line first. A lot of luck is on their side, a lot of skill, and sometimes communications. And I think with sometimes communication, but I think what Matt and Dana really showed, and I can appreciate them as a team, is that, like, there's no such thing as the perfect, like, cookie cutter couple.
Right.
Like, they had a great start at the beginning of the whole season. Like, you did like them. They were supportive of one another, and then somewhere along the way, they bickered. They were down each other's throat. And I think that is true for any relationship. So congratulations to Matt and Dana for crossing the finish line first, because they deserved it.
Maybe now they'll actually get married.
maybe.
You never know.
But, I mean, I think that they also, whenever they were under the heat and feeling the tension, that's when they failed with communication. And then when they were in the first place and just running ahead and had no pressure, they communicated well with each other.
Yeah.
So.
Well, before we talk about our final thoughts and our overall feelings on this entire season of The Amazing Race, I just wanted to share a little bit of information about Chapman University.
I went to Chapman.
You did?
Woo-woo.
Oh, well then these facts might hit home. So Chapman University is located in Orange County, California. It's 16 miles from the beach, over a little 30 miles from Los Angeles, and minutes away from Disneyland. Who doesn't love Disneyland?
And the most beautiful campus ever.
There's about 8,000 students enrolled in undergraduate and graduate programs with 10 different schools and colleges and more than 100 different majors and programs. There's literally something for everyone, which, Jess, I'm sure you can attest to.
And there is an amazing broadcast journalism school. Just throwing it in there.
Just so you know. In terms of free time, there's a lot to do on campus and off. There are close to about 200 clubs and student organizations. Were you part of any of those?
I was in a sorority and I was on Chapman News.
I love it.
Cute.
And keeping in the theme of The Amazing Race, if you love to travel and want to see the world, there are literally dozens of opportunities to study abroad for short trips or for entire semesters. So that's exciting for any student who really wants to learn about the world around them.
Yep.
Here's the best part. 86% of students benefit from some sort of financial aid, so you may not have to pay for all of the tuition yourself. For more information, check out www.chapman.edu/information or www.chapman.edu for more information.
Check it out. It is an amazing school. I highly recommend it.
Right.
Cool.
So, Matt and Dana, the official winners of The Amazing Race 28. There's a lot of conversation going on in the live chat, so let's just talk overall thoughts on this entire season. Would you like to see them do a social media season? Did it work or did it not work?
No.
Thoughts?
No, I like it when it's just average Joe, people who are really fighting for the money, haven't traveled as much. Kind of people that we discover along the way instead of people who we kind of already know who they are.
Well, you know, and I actually want to stick up for the YouTube community for a second, just because a lot of the backlash that I've gotten from some of the teams personally is that, like, oh, just because we make a lot of money doesn't mean that, like, whatever. They're just saying that we should talk about money, which I totally understand that sentiment. But the same thing goes for, like, NFL football players teams and people who, like, come from professional sports teams on The Amazing Race. It's the same thing. Like, everyone is deserving of the money.
Yeah.
It's the game. It's the competition. It's what you sign up for. But I just wanted to make that clear that, like,
And because they were social media stars, I mean, it was great TV. I mean, every single episode we talked about one-liners or these funny moments. So
they delivered.
Yeah, they definitely delivered.
So what do you think, Marie? You just know.
No, I didn't like it. I mean, no.
Yeah.
No, I want to see regular people, or at least like, I just felt like this was a lot of the same thing over and over again.
Well, that's what the other argument was, is like, we keep saying regular people, but like people who are on the internet or on social media are regular people.
Right, but I want to see one set of YouTubers. I want to see one set of football players, one set of best friends that have never left their hometown. Like, this was too similar for me. I get that, like, you know, everyone has a different thing or whatever, but like they're all kind of
like
the same.
It worked when Joey and Megan were on The Amazing Race.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was just one social media team, and they had the time of their life. And they didn't take themselves too seriously, which I loved. But a season filled with just one theme, I don't think it was executed the way they probably had hoped for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you look at the ratings, it started off at 6.09 million, I believe, and now it's like 5.19 million. I don't know about the finale episode, but it just, like, something didn't quite hit the mark.
Right, it dropped.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
What would you like to see in upcoming episodes or seasons?
Well, speaking of that, I do want to share a little bit of information I read on realityblurred.com. I don't know if this is necessarily like news and gossip, but it's just kind of a speculation, kind of an update. So for the 29th season of The Amazing Race, they've been advertising that they're looking for teams of two from all types of relationships and singles. So the website says that, but it's said that since the blind date season. But what people are speculating might happen for season 29 is pairing up two people, not necessarily in a blind date setting, but for instance, like if you have an example, grandmother might be paired up with a college student, or a lesbian might be paired up with a straight man. Something that's like opposites attract kind of theme. So I think it could be interesting, and that's something I actually might enjoy. I'm not sure, but I might give it a shot if that is the case.
So not the dating aspect, but the two unique individuals working together and meeting for the first time.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to see an all-star.
Yeah, I just want to see an All-Stars.
Which I think is...
Like, bring back
It would
something
make
we
sense
know
for
we
it to be
like.
season 30.
It should be. If it's not season 30, like, someone is doing something wrong.
Yeah,
Like,
it has to be.
I don't know.
It has to. I want you to come
I mean,
back
who would
on.
you want to, like, if it was All-Stars for season 30, like, who are, like, 3 teams for both of you that have to come back?
Kim and Allie. That's so tough.
I know, it's so
I know,
tough.
I just asked it, and now I'm thinking you're going to ask me, and I have no idea.
Well, I would love to say you and Tim, but
I would
don't-
love to see you and Tim.
But I feel like that would be a given. Kim and Allie, just because I love strong female teams.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know, I have to do my research.
I actually think, I don't know. Like, I would like to see maybe Tommy and Andy come back. They were from, like, before
Or I
we
would
even
even
started
like to see,
recapping
like,
the show.
racers swap with other racers. Like, what if you were a team with another team? Like, why
Like,
can't
as a fan, it'd be fun to, like, audition by myself and then
and then get paired up with your racer?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people were saying that.
I think a fan with a racer would be fun, but I do think that two racers who were with a different partner racing now together.
Because then you have the viewers that already like those people, you know them, but it's like something different.
But also, like, you have your technique of racing that you experienced on your first leg, and they probably have their technique, so you might actually butt heads.
So you're saying paired up with a completely different
Right, like if I could do this
Yeah.
again, obviously I don't want to do it with Tim. Like, I would want to race with, like, James. Like, him and I are really good friends. He was on a few seasons
actually
before
would
me.
love to see that.
Like, could you imagine that? Or like even the Twinnies, like people that are my friends that have been on the show. Like, that would be so fun.
That would be cool.
Oh my
actually.
god, like me and Nadia, James and Natalie on the same season, paired different ways.
Perfect. That's
It'll never
entertainment.
happen
It's good though.
Oh my god, Marie and Cole team. Someone just said yes.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, could you
Do you
imagine?
think you can handle it?
Oh my god.
She would be
I would be
drooling
like
the whole
making
time.
him so uncomfortable the whole time. Like, I'm just joking, but I would totally make him uncomfortable.
I love it. All right. Let us know what you guys want to see in the comments or
Yes.
in the live chat.
And that is unfortunately the end of our after show for this season. But hopefully we'll all be back for season 29 of
Yes.
The Amazing Race. Where can they find you on social media?
You guys can find me at Reebsicle on all social medias.
And you guys can find me at Jess Carroll TV.
And you can find me on Twitter at James Wallington and Instagram at Where's Wallington. And I might be on more adventures this summer. I'm going to be going to Cambodia. So make sure you check out my YouTube channel, Where's Wallington, to follow me along on my little Amazing Race adventures. But until next season of The Amazing Race, have a wonderful summer. Enjoy yourselves. Get out there and travel more. And just have an Amazing Race experience of your own.
Yes.
Why not?
Bye, guys.
Bye,
everyone.
guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz. See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.